ETAOINSHRDLUCM WFGYPBVKXJQZ. That's the alphabet by frequency. Or is it? Yes, it is. But maybe you were expecting the most frequent letters to be something more like this. And you would be right. It depends what source material you're counting from to determine the letter frequency. The second one is just taking a dictionary and churning through it, looking at all of the words in the dictionary. So it's useful for solving word problems when you want to know how likely it is that any single word will contain a certain letter. But there are some words which get used way more than others. For example, just in this video so far, I've used the word the 7 times. And that bumps up the prevalence of T because it appears in so many of the frequently used little words. There was a journal article in the Mathematical Association of America from 20 years ago, which analysed tons of different texts, taking, full sentences and seeing which letter came up most often. That's how we got the first alphabet, the one which I was singing. But why would mathematicians be interested in this if it's all about words? Well, cryptography. So if you make a code and swap each letter for a different letter, even if it's random, then we can do a frequency analysis if we have enough of the coded text. And whichever letter comes up most often, that one is likely to be E. And whichever comes up second most often, that one is likely to be T. In English, of course. There are some notable exceptions, like this entire book, which does not contain the letter E. Obviously, different languages have different frequencies. I'll let you guess what this Z-heavy language is. And this sort of frequency analysis for cracking codes has been known for 1,400 years. It was first described by Al-Kindi, who was an Arabic mathematician and philosopher, and I think it was called something like Unobscured Correspondence. Then new kid on the block Samuel Morse decided in 1830 that this would be a good basis for his Morse code. And that's why E gets the single dot, boop, and T gets the single dash, boop. If you're going to be using those letters a lot, you want to be able to communicate them in the shortest time possible. And then A and I are both 2-character Morse code letters, but I've still never managed to figure out why on earth M is made of 2 dashes. It gets the 2 dash spot, whereas O is 3 dashes. And O, before the 1800s, O was more common than A. Then they kind of swapped around. There was a brief spell at the end of the 21st century where I was more popular than O, but O has always been much, much more popular than M. So if anyone has an answer to that, I would love to know why M got the, maybe it's because it's Morse code, but why did M get the special 2 dash space and O only gets 3 dashes? Anyway, being the nerd that I am, I thought it would be fun to play around with the most common 12 letters in the English language and just see what anagrams I could come up with. There were some good ones. So imagine my shock when I went to an anagram solver and typed in, the 12 most popular letters, ETAOINSHRDLU, and it was yeah, ETAOIN SHRDLU. ETAOIN SHRDLU? ETAOIN SHRDLU is apparently a word in its own right. So I go to the dictionary and yeah, look, boom, right there, ETAOIN SHRDLU, Oxford English Dictionary. Other dictionaries, yeah, ETAOIN SHRDLU, it's a word. Even on Wikipedia. So there was a printing press type which used straight up hot metal to create the typeset, and we wanted to have access to the most common letters. And so if you look at the first 2 rows on the keyboard that they used for this printing press, it's spelt ETAOIN SHRDLU. Anytime people typing made a mistake, just to kind of note that they needed to go back and fix it, they would run down those first 2 rows, ETAOIN SHRDLU. But what this meant was sometimes they forgot to go back and fix the mistake, and so there are all of these erroneous ETAOIN SHRDLUs popping up in random places in newspaper articles, so much so that it became a kind of legendary word. Here's an actual newspaper clipping from the 1980s, kind of like a newspaper printing meme at that point.
ETAOIN SHRDLU. Does the over-the-counter market make just about as much sense to you as ETAOIN SHRDLU?
So yeah, I've been unemployed for a while now. What is everyone else up to with their life?